Oxford Anime Club. It's me, Jenny, aka Class Librarian, and this week's anime was Fullmetal Alchemist Brotherhood. And this is definitely one of my favourite anime series that I have seen so far on Wood Club. It's such a brilliant universe, and I love being it. I like the cross time period aspect to this film where you're not really sure what decade it's set in. There's definitely aspects of it being mainly set in about the 1920s because there's the car designs and there's also carriages in use, but there's definitely so many different periods thrown into this. There's obviously the Cold War aspect that's thrown in. There's some interesting stuff with the level of technology that's available and the kind of magic technology that's available. There's some stuff that seems almost medieval, and there's some stuff that feels, particularly in Edward's fashion sense, very 80s. So I love the way that this world kind of builds up, and it feels logical and it makes sense, but it also feels as though you can't really put your finger on the time, and I really like that because it works for such a magical / scientific universe, and I really love that. I love the way that this world has been built up. It starts in a very small village, and then you slowly get bigger and bigger and bigger, and you can see from where it builds up from central to kind of the different districts, and then it builds up into this whole continent where you get all of the different places around the world. You get Drachma and you get Shin, and I like how it's just so international. It feels like it could be a universe in its own right. Obviously, there are some references that are pretty hard to miss towards specific cultures thrown in there, but I really like that. It feels like Brotherhood is the title, and I feel like it can be a story in the Brotherhood of Man because a lot of the issues that are brought up in this anime are to do with race and to do with different cultures clashing and not getting on, and I really enjoyed that. I felt like the universe built up in such a way that you can really get to the epic proportions that it does at the end, and it gets into really epic proportions. It gets into deities and all of that, but it still grounds it into human interaction. There are so many characters in this anime, and they're all very in-depth characters. They all have their distinctive look, their distinctive saying, their own style, their own fears and emotions, and their own backstory. And so as you slowly build through this universe and have so many different characters, it kind of almost feels slightly Dickensian because you can meet a character, really get to know them, see them for 10 episodes, and then forget about them because there's so much stuff going on. And then you see another character come back in, and it's so exciting to see this character just pop up, and you're like, oh, will they come back? And you've completely forgotten about them. But when they come back, you still love them and you still remember their storyline. And I think this is the only series that I've ever watched with quite so many characters handled quite so well that it feels almost Dickensian. Because you can have this sort of expanded universe because you know so many of these characters and you root for all of them in a like really hard way to do. I really like how then when you get to these epic proportions, you can dot around and you're not just rooting for a city of people or 2 characters. You're rooting for 50 characters as you dot around this universe, and they're each doing their own thing, but they're each focused in on the problem. And so it's very fun because you can get to see that everyone is taking part, everyone is crucial to the storyline, but it's not overcrowded, and that is a really amazing tactic. I really like, there's a lot of really powerful female characters particularly towards the end of this series. I like Nay, I like Winry is amazing, I love Hawkeye's progression. All of the male characters are really good as well. I particularly like the theme of brotherhood running throughout, as I said, between the Brotherhood of Man, but also between this kind of sibling relationship, and particularly the themes with the Eric brothers, who have this fierce brotherly bond that really drives them to carry on doing what they're doing. I like the idea that Winry is kind of like an adopted sister in a way, although obviously it doesn't end that way. I like Scar and his brother Hughes and Mustang have their brotherly relationship. There's a lot of really good brotherly themes throughout this series that I love. I really enjoy this series. I think the action sequences are really well done. I think the colours and the cartoons are really well done. The actual animation's really well structured. The way that they've distinctly manipulated the way that they've done certain things when they've been influenced by alchemy. So you've got the kind of almost like bark marks when things have been overstretched or warped because of alchemy. And I really like that because you can start seeing clues to what's going on. I really just like the overall themes. I think I did watch the whole of Fullmetal Alchemist, the original series, for Movie Club before, and then the footage has been lost. I got it up too late, and then by the time I got around to uploading it, the the footage had just gone. But I did watch all of it, and watching it with the knowledge of both series really helped, because although I definitely think Brotherhood has got a more set, focused storyline, I think the logic of the alchemy makes a lot more sense. The introduction of the characters and making it much bigger and more complex universe, particularly with the multicultural aspects. Some of the characters, as I said, some of the female characters come in, some of the male characters as well, just the international characters in general. I really like just the way that that's all brought together, and that kind of gets missed out of Full Metal Alchemist, the original series. But Full Metal Alchemist, the original series, really ekes out the beginning, so you get to know your primary characters really, really well. I think I've worked out that it's about 12 episodes in Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood to about 29 episodes of Full Metal Alchemist to get the same amount of plot there. So if you can work out a way to watch it, I would definitely recommend, if you've only got time to watch one of these series, watch Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. If you've got time to watch both of them. And just make sure that you kind of keep the universes slightly separate, but use it, maybe Full Metal Alchemist as OVA, extra information for Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood. If you kind of have only a mixture of times, watch the first half of Full Metal Alchemist with a friend who can point out the continuity errors, and then watch the second half of Full Metal Alchemist Brotherhood, because that way you get the full extended getting to know your characters and all of the context and depth that you get in the second half of Full Metal Alchemist. I know that's very, very complicated, but I definitely, having the knowledge of both series really helped me enjoy this series a lot. Although I definitely recommend Brotherhood over Full Metal Alchemist, just because the universe makes so much more sense and is so much more complex and brilliant. And yeah, I'm dressed as Winry. This is my lazy Winry costume. I wore this to a convention. I'm very lazy. It's just messing with my hair a little bit. I'm so sorry, I'm still on my web camera. My camera, I was really, really hoping it would arrive today, and it hasn't arrived. And I really want to get this out to you, because I don't want to do a Full Metal Alchemist and my footage just to disappear. So this is for you guys. I'm so, so sorry, and hopefully my camera will arrive soon. And I'm sorry if this review is very rambly and very incoherent, but I tried my best, and definitely worth a watch. And I will see you guys soon, hopefully, on my new camera. Hopefully.